Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, so we have none other than Joshua Sims Sr. back in the house, back in the building. Look at him. I like the Eagle sweat on. It look clean. You need to send me a cap, man.
That's dope. I like that.
Send me a cap so I can represent. Y'all playing some ball right now. There you go. Yeah, I like it. There you go. Find me a golf cap. I'll make sure I get it on for you.
I got you.
But we have none other than Joshua Sims Sr. holding it down for us today as he has the adjunct professor role. He keeps showing up like this. We have to move him to visiting professor, Charles.
Now, how about that?
Yeah, you the professor. You're going to have to vote on, whether he gets that movement as one of the regular faculty members.
Hey, I love it. Let's rock and roll with it then.
Hey, let's see how he picks today.
Yes, sir. I know you're thinking about one game in particular, but I'm gonna pick them right.
There you go. Welcome to episode 305 Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports. In the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports institutions large and small. From the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic program in the business of HBCU sports. We like to call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host. Today is none other than Professor Charles Bishop, Professor Joshua Sims Sr. We are filming from our home studios and sitting a Signal Live to KSWH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer. That's none other than Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, today's episode from Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. Charles, I know you're not necessarily in your home studios. You're on the road, I think. If you had a chance to put out little golf clubs, how did that go?
Yeah, I had an opportunity to play in 80 Ashley Robinson's golf tournament today. Had an enjoyable time out there. We shot a great score, Dr. Cavil, but the score that was shot, my goodness, 20 under. That was quite a bit today.
Man, what y'all doing out there? So our people already man. So I'm not sure you want to put that out there. They already gonna question everything you doing.
Yeah, I know that's the truth, man. But I had a phenomenal time out there today. Great golf course, and this is, if I'm not mistaken, either the third or fourth year that we've done this and raised as much needed funds for Jackson State Athletics. So you get an opportunity, basketball coaches come out there and play a little bit. Nice time was had by all. It was probably his biggest one this year.
Oh, that's awesome to see it getting bigger and better. Joshua, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Man, doing excellent, sir, man. Thank you for having me back on the show. Fellas, thank you for having me back on the show. 20 under? Golly.
That's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even play golf, and I'm like, huh? But last time we had you on, speaking of that, you had a tea time the next day with some of your Eagle and a couple of Aggies. That was before the big Duke Mayo Classic, which you all came out on top of that, looking pretty good. And since have won a couple of more games, or another game, I should say. So let me ask you, how did you perform out there on the golf course? Did you take some money, or were you nice?
Well, you know,
what'd you do out there?
You know, Doc, it was. I did get to win some money for the first time in my golfing career. I've been playing for a long time, and it was a festive weekend in general. You know, it was the 100th Aggie Eagle Classic. This year was put on by Duke's Mayo, you know, and the whole mayonnaise and all of that stuff, all the festivities. But for the first time in my golf career, I drove the green. I drove a par 4 all the way to the green from the tee box. I played for the tips. And that was a sign of what the rest of the day was going to look like for them Aggies, because they was all, what in the world? Just looking all around. They was confused about how a brother could go out there and drive a whole green, drive the whole hole. So, and then my boys went out there and took care of business that night. And, man, it has been nothing but exuberance and love and happiness since I drove that green. So let's just say that, Doc.
Boy, them Eagles in the nest, they flying high.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Fly high.
And you
Well,
know,
Price, Einstein Maddox, Thomas Einstein Maddox, Wendell Davis are in the house. Anthony Weston says, "What's up, everyone? Good evening, Dean and Professors. To class tonight. I see you in here. I appreciate you. Noel Price, Karen Griffin, Wendell Dave. Good evening. Karen is saying hello to everyone. Sherman Miller is in here. Lonnie Shaw, thanks, Lab, for addressing my questions. No doubt. Appreciate you for asking the questions. Always, you know what we do. Willie Alex Hines, hello, ladies and gentlemen. The CIAA is here, getting ready to watch Savannah State and Benedict on ESPNU. That's right. We're going to watch it as well, give you some updates, so keep your eyes here. But I know y'all can multi-talent and put both cameras on. Make sure they get some love. We'll give you updates. Carol Keelam, good evening, Doc and company. Are we going to get some sound today? Yes, we think we fixed it. We good. Let us know. Great evening, Sports Lab fans. Kay Johnson, always taking care of us. With that being said, let me go to you, Charles, with some of the news of the day. What you got for us?
Yeah, let's start off with a little sports business. Jackson State freshman cornerback Travis Hunter, he signed an NIL deal to become an ambassador for Michael Strahan Brand. So this is a quote from Michael Strahan. Travis Hunter is a game changer on and off the field. This young man had the opportunity to select any school in the country, but chose Jackson State University and HBCU. His decision demonstrates character, his vision, and confidence. He's also a great teammate. So congratulations, Travis Hunter, signing an NIL deal with the Michael Strahan Brand.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I love to see that. And speaking of that, Michael Strahan, shout out to Texas Southern University as they brought out some of their Michael Strahan suits as well, tailored inside with the TSU logo, looking clean as they have some shots. We'll probably get them up before the end of the show, give you some of those shots of what Texas Southern University's obviously having body in there, looking sharp in terms of the outline that they had with those. Everybody's going with these suits, looking good. Either, especially with Michael Strahan, he got folks looking tight around here. I need to talk to him. Maybe the team here needs to make sure we can.
Yeah, how about that?
Suits, you know, we want to look clean as well, right?
Hey, man, I'm on the team now, too. So, yeah, I need one of them suits, man.
No doubt about it. Let's go to you, Joshua. Give us some other updates and news on the day. What do you got? What's on your mind?
Absolutely, man. Doc, thank you. I want to give a shout out to Johnson C. Smith here in Charlotte, North Carolina, man. The lone HBCU here in the great state of North Carolina and in the city of Charlotte. $80 million in equity funds, man, that they are now utilizing to kind of become the premier private HBCU here in the state of North Carolina. $80 million in private equity funds. That is incredible. So super salute to that administration there. That equity fund that they're kind of building is supposed to be catered toward education only, but I would love to see how they going to kind of steer a little bit of that money toward athletics as well. But super salute to Johnson C. Smith and having that $80 million equity fund, man. That's huge, man. So that's what my shout out for today is, Doc.
I like that. That's a great point when you talk about that. And what's nice, even if they're not allowed to use that $80 million towards athletics, that means, but there are some funds now that are freed up that they would have been using for some academics. Now that funds that are allowed to go over there can be used to athletics. So to your point, whether it's directly or indirectly, this has a chance to go across the board for Johnson C. Smith, which would be a lovely opportunity.
Yes,
great
sir.
Points there made by you, Joshua. Getting back to you, Charles, what else is on your mind in terms of the news of the day?
Yeah, let's stay with sports business theme. Howard University receives $1 million gift to renovate the gym. Howard University is getting a $1 million gift from Nuna Baby Essentials to renovate Burr Gymnasium. So that money is earmarked for renovations to the coach's office, the locker rooms, and Burr Gymnasium. So shout out to Howard, $1 million gift to renovate the Burr.
Ooh, man, you get a lot of nice things looking in the Burr, man. Coming up there, Josh, you're gonna have to go up to DC, find a new reason to see what kind of updates, so you can report back and tell us, do they know what they're doing or not with $1 million?
Yeah, man, I need to see what Howard's gonna do with that $1 million. You know, and from our perspective, especially here in the MEAC, the rich just get a little more richer. But for whatever reason, hopefully that allows for them to, hopefully that pushes them in a direction that, you know, athletically, man, because everybody knows on my show on HBCU Nightly, I have a weekly banter and kind of laughing session as it pertains to Howard football, but that's going to change here soon. Hopefully that $1 million is the catalyst that pushes that in another direction.
Great point. Great point. I'm glad you did the shout out with your nightly, with your weekly nightly show that you talk about HBCU Nightly. That was pretty good. How you pulled it in. I like that. I like that. You learn fast, and you got a little jug and sticks at Howard University. Pretty good. Pretty good. Let me stick with you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how you do it in the MEAC. I see y'all got a little pep in yourself. They talk about it's tough in the swag. I guess it's getting tougher in the MEAC as well.
How about
that being said?
Yeah.
Exactly. You like it? Like that? Joshua, sticking with you. Give me some more HBCU news of the day.
Yes, sir, man. So I'm going to go directly to my alma mater, man. I'm a North Carolina Central graduate. For those who don't know, I'm a third-generation North Carolina Central graduate. My parents went to Central. My grandparents went to Central. My wife and I met on the beautiful sloping hills in Verde Green. So I'm going to give a super shout-out to my alma mater, launching the infrastructure and a boost to our STEM education program, man. We have already one of the best law schools, one of the best tech and IT departments in the country, business school of business in the country. But now we are starting to kind of chip away at the school down the highway with a major investment into the STEM program. So I know A&T is known for, you know, them being an agriculture and technology state university, but we are now starting to move in the direction of STEM and investing some of our endowment into the STEM program. So I'm going to give a super shout out to my alma mater, the North Carolina Central University, and our development of our brand new infrastructure and launching our infrastructure towards STEM program. Hey, we on the way. We on the way.
I see you keep moving, and you talk about the law school and its partnership in terms of what it does for IT, one of the best in the country in terms of delivery. As COVID hit and you had so many universities that were moving to online programs, I happened to be in one of those positions where we were talking about the latest in the law school here at Texas Southern University. Had partnered and called over to get some information in terms of North Carolina Central, because they were on that cutting edge with so many things they were doing with the law school in terms of the infrastructure and IT, what they would get done. So great point that you talk about that and tie it in terms of North Carolina Central continue to grow and take the next step. Pretty big. I did want to give some love to the Division II CIAA Journal Admission tickets to move digital for the 2023 CIAA basketball tournament. The CIAA reports that they will be moving to a digital platform. And we've seen this across the country in many sports, HBCUs. You saw a lot of that with obviously COVID-19 when it first kicked off and they were trying to get back into some activities. A lot of places were moving to this handless, touchless. And so you see this continued move right there at Jackson State. In a lot of ways, they're switching over from one of their ticket processors using Ticketmaster to another company in regards to what that looks like. And a lot of that is about being able to be more seamless in terms of moving away from that paper product. Obviously, it helps in terms of counting. What people may not realize, I did want to touch down. We always talk about data, right? And data marks and analytics. When you go to these paperless systems, obviously it can protect you to some degree, but also what's more important to me is all the rich data that you can get. Talking about data points. When you get this information, and we're talking about institutions understanding how to market better, talk to their alumni and their fans. One of the ways to do that is to move to systems that allow you to collect all this rich data. So now it has the ability to help you augment it and do different analysis that should put you in a better position to market in a lot better ways, to understand price points, differential ways that you can do price points and those kind of things, as well as just information between direct marketing and what you're going to market to folks. So it's good to see that you see a lot of our institutions, in this case, particularly the CIAA, that are moving more in terms of understanding the digital platform. Now, this is going to be frustrating for some fans. We got to be frank with that. In terms of the older demographic that are used to having paper copy, they want that. We're going to have to find a way to find a unique medium and help them make sure that they have the ability to talk about it. They come from environments where they don't necessarily trust electronic stuff out there in terms of having their information out there, which we certainly have to understand and respect. But I like to share why this is necessarily in terms of providing the opportunity about our institutions, looking at the cutting edge in a lot of ways about how they do that. So wanted to get in that a little bit before we take our first break. We're up against it now. Stick with us. We'll be right back as we get into the second quarter. It's getting hot in here. We're going to talk a little bit about the marching sport. It's time to give you that band update and see what people say about what's going on with the top 10. Remember, in the marching sport, there has to be competition, wins and losses. Stick with us. We'll be right back to tell you who's in the top 10 of the marching sport in week number 2.
Support the Black College Sports Network so we can continue to provide you coverage. Go to myjbn.com/support and be a part of the Black College Sports
Tell everybody
Network.
they can follow their dreams.
Let's get back to getting ticks instead of watching flicks. Before we can safely get out there, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your crew.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry. Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it. Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Picks up a first down.
And I'm going to go back to, we talked to our friends, Charles Bishop and Neely. They follow Jackson State football and having dinner with them. I mean, they said this team feels like nobody can score 3 times on them. 3 times. He didn't say if it was 3 field goals, 3 touchdowns. Prairie View has scored twice. Touchdown, field goal. That's how good this defense is. And, whoa. They are as good as advertised.
4th best in all of FCS.
It got to get to the point where whoever we're doing the broadcast that week of the game, they're going to have to sit down with y'all because y'all know us better than everybody.
Sure.
And y'all know some of the inside stuff that I may not tell them because I don't trust them. But
sure. Trust us.
Okay. Trust y'all.
We appreciate that trust.
Appreciate that, Coach. Much love, baby.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Ville with Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Those are the Strahan suits for Texas Southern University I was talking about. As Charles said, he said, "Who is that?" Oh, he said, "All right,
Yeah.
I should say they were sweet. Yeah, they were clean. I told you, I like that. I want some of those. I like. So y'all don't get mad if I find myself when I'm on the show and all of a sudden I say, you know, your boy finds a way to get his hands on stuff real quick, like. That's
all right.
You know, I do need to go get. It might take a little while because I do got to get it fitted just right. You know what I'm saying? Make sure it is on the big sexy yada bear, as they like to call around these parts. Ooh, that's it. Let's get into the market sport. The top 10, starting with the bottom 5. Let's get into it. At number 10, you have Howard Showtime Marching Band, 1-1 on the season. They dropped one spot, but they still stay in the top 10. And you see those that dropped out this weekend, some receiving votes. But at number 9, you got Florida A&M Marching 100. They get back into the mixes. They were not ranked. You know, you'd be surprised if they stay out too long, but they're in here. 1-1, they are 0-1. They lost that opener. Boy, it was a tough weekend, but they got it done this past weekend against Albany. They got it done for them. At number 8, you got Alcorn State, the Sounds of Dynamite Band, 0-1, but they dropped a spot, but they stay in the top 10. At number 7, Kentucky State Mighty Marching Thoroughbreds Band. They got a big victory this past weekend as they are 1-0 from earlier in the season. They dropped one space, bringing us to number 6. North Carolina Central Sound Band Marching Machine continues to get in there. They move up some spots. They move up 4 spots to number 6. They beat up on Winston-Salem State. They beat them on the field.
Okay.
They go to the march.
Right.
It's tough. When you go 2 for, that's tough. So that's your bottom 5 in the top 6, top 10. Let's get in the top 5, give you some more to see what's going on here. At number 5, you got Prairie View A&M, the Marching Storm. They dropped 3 spots. Not performing last week. They did one of those moves where they didn't go down to follow the team, the Abilene. And they had a contest where they decided to come up here. They did perform with Power Wow. But my understanding is that they even played the horns. They marched and danced. They looked good. It was at the Houston, Texas. But who could have known if they would have played and followed the team? That could have been a difference in terms of Prairie View. Your
priority is the team. The team.
Not Paul Wall. No, I'm just playing.
Exactly. Charles taught me this last year when we debuted it, that it's important that you play in the competition and that you support your team. So they took a drop for that. Not so much they didn't play, but the fact it wasn't there for the team. We'll see how that moves up the rest of the season. They do have a big one coming up in the State Fair Classic. We'll see what that looks like. At number 4, you have Alabama State Mighty Marching Hornets. They have one first place vote. I should say Prairie View still holds on to a first place vote. They just over Prairie View at 69 points, but they stay at number 4. At number 3, you have the Southern Human Jukebox, 1-0, first place vote, 71.
Whoa!
And I don't get into these collaborations. Alabama State with the UCLA. I don't know what all that's about. All this LSU Southern. Man, this is a marching sport. All this mixed brand collaboration. Yeah, save that for the concert hall, not for the marching sport on the field.
Yeah.
At number 2, you got you agree with that, Charles?
Number 2. Now
I'm talking about Southern in the marching sport, and you started to say some of this.
Yeah. I'm as bad as Unity Steps. I don't like saying that.
FAMU, North Carolina.
I'm good.
Just tell them to cut the check. We don't need
right. It's a competition here. Competition.
Jackson State, Sonic Boom of the South, 2-0. They get it over the Aristocrats. They won it on the field. I know some people said it was close when they might not got that. We'll let Charles say a little bit about it. We'll let Joshua say too. Everybody's saying they move up 3 spots. It sounds like we have a controversy for the first time of the year in week number 2. And number 1, Bethune-Cookman marching Wildcat. I'm going to go with visiting professor. We didn't already upgrade the adjunct. Joshua, tell us, what's your thoughts in terms of the top 10 poll rankings? Look like you have some concerns. Tell us what you feel.
Doc, look at my face, Doc. Doc, look at my face. It's a face of concern. Now, listen, I got a lot of love for watching Wildcats down in Daytona Beach, man. I had the esteemed opportunity to play against Bethune-Cookman all 4 years of me playing at North Carolina Central, and their band was like that. But Doc, they done been getting a shellacking on that field, and they band ain't been able to help. I don't know how they get number 1, because the band ain't took no attention away from the shellacking they've been getting on that field. So I don't know about how they gonna be at number 1 like that. The brothers got to score some they got to score some touchdowns, and they got to score some nice band kind of unity just to make that happen. Just for me to feel a little bit better for them at number 1, man. That's just how I feel about it. That's just me.
I like it. You gonna make me think twice. This is one of the first times that I even paused where you broke that down. I'll go to Charles. He sounds like he got some concerns too. Do we got 2 for 2? Charles, what are you looking at in the
where was the aristocratic bands? I think they need to be in there somewhere because
they were receiving votes. They were the first one out. They would be a number 11.
Well, here's how I'm looking at this. I've done like an informal poll of a lot of ex-Boom members who watched that show this past week, and they were not impressed. They thought the Aristocrat got them this week. So I know you might have them as 2-0, but in watching that show, I have to take my hat off to the Aristocrat. And one component of this marching sport is that your PA or your hype guy, that he rides with the band and has that good amount of witty and salty all at the same time.
Yeah, brother Charles.
Yeah, and that's what Tennessee State kind of got Jackson State this past weekend. The PA announcer kept the crowd engaged, and that kept the band engaged, and it was a standing O at the end of the night for the Aristocrat on the field. So,
I might have to reevaluate this if you get the standing ovation. I don't know how you get the victory there. It might have to be updated. Well, we'll see later in the year, but we'll make sure we reevaluate the computer rankings. Maybe there was a glitch in there. Go ahead, Joshua, you want to add to that?
Yeah, because I know Brother Charles kind of gave a little side look with my Eagles, our marching sound machine being at 6. Listen, we were at home last week. It was raining last week, and the band tore the house down. I mean, tore it down. Our PA announcer, I know we hear some conversations about the PA announcer, but our PA announcer tore the house down. So just a little bit of background, Charles and Doc, man, in all of my years of going to North Carolina Central and being around North Carolina Central, our band, even though our football team is now starting to come around and have a little bit of our heyday, our band has always been the thing that really kind of settled us down and really, really been the thing that kind of stood out for us. Sound Machine, has had a chance to go to the Rose Bowl, has had a chance to go and do some appearances at some other big stages. Sound Machine is rocking and rolling, man. Even with the rain, we got turf at our field now, so they ain't have no hiccups. But they were on point, Brother Charles. They was on point.
So help me out. Help me out with this, Josh, because this is my beef with the MEAC. Do y'all battle week in, week out? Do you travel? I'm saying,
yeah, we do. Our band goes. Now our band. So I will say our band is not traveling to New Hampshire, but that'll be the only game on our schedule this year that our band won't go, because our athletic director has done a phenomenal job, and we talked about it a little bit on the show last time, so I won't go too much in depth about how band needs to be included inside of athletics. I look at it as a sport.
No doubt. Yeah.
And so if you gonna have a game and you want the best representation of your university at that game, you gotta have the pomp and the circumstance. And our defense right now is bringing that pomp, but I'll talk about that later.
I like that. I like that. This man knows what he's talking about. See, that's why we bring experts like this on the show. Here at Texas Southern University, they just made that change where literally the VP of athletics now is included the marching band. So he's responsible for that. So the mix in terms of, I've been pushing this for years, is to understand the uniqueness in terms of HBCUs and that culture and how the band and athletics, particularly football, are really hand in glove, if you would. And if you could put them together, then you should get a better return on understanding of making sure the band is inclusive, getting the benefits. So one of the things I like that happened in that is the band actually gets the bag, just like your athletic programs get the bag. So the deal with Under Armour is inclusive of the band.
Wow.
So they get the jackets, they get the bags. I know when the deal with Adidas was first done at Prairie View, that was the case. The band down there and the cheerleaders all wore Adidas gear and had all the paraphernalia associated with it in terms of bags and things of that nature, along with the band. So it's good to hear that other institutions, HBCU related, are considering this, thinking this, and I think you can market this even more so. So that's good information. Let's take our second break. As we get into halftime, we'll come back and we'll get into some of the sports, some of the games of the week. We'll break it down both at the mid-major level and the major level. We got some good games this weekend. We'll get to talk a little bit about that. We gave you two of your classic and independent matchups on Tuesday. Now we're going to get into your CIAA, SIAC, MEAC, and SWAC matchups particular. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break to break it all down for you and more.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
The new GMC Sierra with hands-free driving offers the most advanced and luxurious pickup in its class. Yeah, it rocks.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, trying to get down.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington's out on assignment, so we have Joshua Sims Sr. coming in here representing the MEAC in North Carolina Central University and doing well, I might add. Being able to be versed, talking about the news, updates, providing us some band information and give us some cultural perspective of what goes on in MEAC, particularly with North Carolina Central. And he hit it right on the button, talking about they travel. You got to have matchup. You cannot be in the Marching Sport, win poll rankings if you're not having matchups. Now, we can get some updates. We can go back and forth for where you need to be, but it's pretty simple. If you're not having any matchups, don't even talk to me. Look at that. Let's go to the CIAA game of the week. We're in Virginia, Rogers Stadium. St. Augustine Falcons, they 0-2. Virginia State Trojans 1-1. Shout out to Dr. Henry Fraser. I should say Dr. Henry Fraser III. Got the big first win as a Trojan up there. And I got to ask these fellas to see what they think about this CIAA matchup. Does he get a second one, or does the Falcons find a way to get it done? Let me go with you, Joshua. Let me go with you first. Let me know what you think about this matchup.
Yeah, man, a beautiful history with Coach Frazier, man. That was my coach in college. His offensive coordinator, Lamar Manigo, was my position coach in college. Oh, and wow. So I'm very, very well impressed of what's going on up at Virginia State University, or as they would say, the Virginia State University. Man, they were rolling last week, man. That game last week, that offense found a way to start clicking at the right time. And my big question coming into the season with Virginia State was how that offense was going to look with a brand new coordinator, brand new head coach, and really a kind of a little bit of an experienced guy as your gunslinger. But the running game was what made me very, very impressed last week with Virginia State. So this week against St. Aug, obviously coming into Virginia State, they are hot right now. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. And I'm usually pretty good on this show, Doc. I pretty much call it like it is. I got Virginia State winning by 2 touchdowns, man. I just don't think St. Aug going to be able to hold the roll with Virginia State in that offense, man.
That's fair. Shout out, as I said, to Dr. Henry Frazier III. He was the coach that brought the championship back to Prairie View back in the day before he went up there in North Carolina Central and coaching there. So I always followed with, was always on the edge about getting his next job. I was at his dissertation defense that he did at Prairie View, and that was wonderful. And had to shut down somebody that was asking a question. I was like, no, that's not what this is about. Because the guy was asking a question in an area that he didn't know. And so I didn't even let Frazier have to go there. He touched him up afterwards, but I was like, no, I need a piece of this. As a doctor at the time. Yes, so we got in there, so it was good. But shout out to Frazier. We're going to have to get him on interview. If not, I'm going to make sure we get him down there as AD. And Brian do a great job of bringing in those D2 coaches. So I'll make sure I reach out and get him on that show, get him some airtime because he deserves that. Especially if he can find a way to get a win this week, he may deserve it. Let me go to you, Charles. Talking too much here. Let me get your thoughts.
Yeah, I always respected Coach Frazier in terms of what he's been able to do, wherever he's been. Like you mentioned, tremendous success at Prairie View. You talked about him, Joshua, up there in North Carolina Central. Very well respected. A couple coaches here at Jackson State, very well aware of his work. So I expect nothing but great things for him in terms of making Virginia State a perennial contender up there in the CIAA. So I'm going to go with Virginia State at home, and you touched on it. It's the rushing attack that will take St. Aug out. So I'm looking for a big score for Virginia State.
Yeah, you talk about that. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about his Louis State Bulldogs. Wilson of course. Out of the CIAA North, but then they get Crane Frazier. So that North seems like it's going to stay hot. And let's make sure that we mention what Virginia University was able to do against
Valdosta.
Man, Valdosta State.
Top 25, top 5 team in terms of what they got done down there. So it's going to be interesting to continue to see how that goes. Let's get into our SIAC division game of the week, still in the mid-major area. We're going to travel to Columbia, South Carolina. That game is on now. Charlie W. Johnson Stadium, SIAC, ESPNU. Number 9, Savannah State, 1-1 on the season against number 3, Benedict Tigers, 2-0. It's going to be fascinating to see what this looks like. We'll get into it, probably give you an update at 6:45 as things they just kicked off at 6:30. Stick with us as we give you some updates. Let me stick with you, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms of this matchup?
Yeah, I said on Tuesday, I like Benedict at home. They're playing some great football, so I think they will get the win. I can't wait to turn this one on.
No problem. Joshua Sims, tell us what you think about Benedict and Savannah State. You going with Charles? With Benedict being able to maintain that number 3, or is number 3 going down in a major upset against number 9 Savannah State Tigers?
Yeah, man. Benedict, man, has some of the most beautiful facilities, athletic facilities that I've ever seen across different divisions, man. And that team is poised to have a big time season. But brother Charles, not so fast, my friend. Savannah State. That offense, baby, is going to click and click and click tonight. I looked a little bit back at kind of the box score, looked at the stats, and looked a little bit back at the rollback of their game last week against Edward Waters, man. And one thing for me that really kind of stood out was Jayden Adams. That quarterback that they've got down at Savannah State is the real deal, and they haven't had a quarterback like that in some time. So to see Jayden so solid, very, very equipped in the pocket, that offense is clicking. I got them winning. Close, but I do got them getting the W tonight against Benedict. Sorry, my brother Charles.
Hey, your pick is your pick, man.
Charles, I think he a little more confidence in the head football coach than a lot of folks have in terms of Savannah State. We'll see shortly in terms of who was right on that. Let's take our last break. We'll get back and get into the major division games of the week. We're going to go into the MEAC. Nice matchup there. We're going to give you an update in terms of North Carolina Central, New Hampshire Wildcats, and then we're going to get into the SWAC, one of those conference, non-conference games. If you don't know about that, we'll tell you a little more. But that's going to feature Grambling traveling to Jackson State. That's a top 10 matchup in itself. The number 7 Grambling State Tigers going up with number 1 Jackson State Tigers. We'll give you some records, some breakdowns, and see what these gentlemen say about these two matchups out of the MEAC and SWAC. Stick with us. We'll right back after this break. We'll get into the major division and see what's going on in these matchups.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Don't worry, Ma. We'll be there soon.
We? Is this the one?
Well, let's say I found the one who takes me to another level. Always stays calm under pressure. Most importantly, the one that helps me discover the coolest places.
This sounds wonderful.
Come outside, I'll introduce you.
You're here.
Definitely the one.
Introducing the all-new Nissan Frontier.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplify Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplify Development Services.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Celebration Bowl at HBCU Sports Lab. We brought him behind the scenes. He's going to give us an update in terms of the Savannah State Benedict. Can give us a little touches in terms of what he thinks in terms of this matchup. That's none other than AD Drew. This is Dr. Dills inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. As I told you, Mike Washington's out on assignment, but we do have Charles Bishop bringing it like he always does. And then we have our guest, Joshua Sims Sr., the adjunct, bringing it. And we have the visiting professor, A.D. Drew, to give us a little touch of what's going on in this matchup. Go ahead, Drew. Take it away.
8:27 remaining in the first quarter. Savannah State drove to midfield, but punted on their first drive. Benedict now has the ball. They are at about their own 35-yard line. A couple quick things I wanted to bring out to you guys. Savannah State has lost one conference game in the last 2 seasons, that being to Albany State. But, of course, new head coach. Last season, Savannah State defeated Benedict in 41-34 in Savannah. Fellas, do y'all know this is the first time that these two teams have played in Columbia, South Carolina since 1962?
Wow.
Yeah. Because
Nice. Wow.
the last
Great
one
nugget.
on the
There you
quote
go.
unquote
There you go,
home and
AD
home,
Drew, I see you doing your homework.
they played in Augusta, Georgia. And last thing, can Savannah State deal with the dual quarterback system that Benedict has with Eric Phoenix, who has passed for 353 yards on the season and 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and John Lampley, who has passed for 217 yards on the season, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions through 2 games.
John Lampley transferred from Southern.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just about to say, good gracious.
Yeah.
You should have brought that info out before I made my pick, man.
you should have read my article before you made your pick.
I'm just
they can get this kind of information.
D2.com, D2football.com, baby.
Nice. With that, let's get into the major division games, MEAC and SWAC. We're going to give everybody a chance to talk about these. Obviously, the first one, Durham. No, not Durham, North Carolina, but this is Durham, New Hampshire. MEAC versus the Colonial. Saturday, September the 17th, 5 o'clock on Flow Sports. Number 3 in the HBCU poll rankings, Dr. Cavil, inside the HBCU Sports, as I like to tell you. North Carolina Central Eagles are 2-0 coming in this matchup. They do hit the road. And New Hampshire Wildcats, a historically white college university, for those that don't know, they are 2-0, and that's also 2-0 in the conference. Colonial early races, they start off an early season matchup. Let me go to Joshua Sims to get the ball rolling right. Tell us, what is his thoughts on this matchup?
Well, Doc, look, I got a 2-hour flight flying out of Charlotte International Airport, headed up to Manchester, Boston Airport tomorrow evening. And I've been thinking all day, well, what are my thoughts going to be as I kind of cross the Mason-Dixon line and go over a few states and look down and see if I can see the Boston food fish market from the window, and, all of these different things. And I'm thinking, man, we can really go up here where the weather might be a little bit colder during kickoff. But then I got to thinking, Doc, my defense ain't got scored on. Ain't nobody came in them end zone but one time on that defense. And that includes the school down the highway. That includes the other school a little bit further down the highway. It's only been one time we've had a team get in the end zone against us this season. Our defense, under the leadership of our brand new defensive coordinator, Courtney McCord, who came to us from the school down the highway, but he is a North Carolina Central grad, has that defense clicking. I have made prognostications and open statements that we have the second, if not the best defense in all of HBCU. And we're young. And I know the University of New Hampshire is going to bring that little running game that they used last week against the University of a little running game. They used that against the University of Albany. We ain't talking about Albany State. We talking about the University of Albany. They used that running game against the University of Albany last week, and they used it too close to perfection. But they have not seen the front seven that we have. They have not seen Brandon Codrington, our All-American, preseason All-American, all-conference cornerback that we got out there, who is okay with being on the island. And they ain't seen what we got coming off that edge with Jakai, Brevard. So I got my guys against that running game. They do not have a great passing game, which is going to be a problem for us. If you have a reasonable passing game, we might be able to play with you. You might be able to play with us a little bit. But if all you can do is run the ball, we're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem with our front seven. I got us going up to Durham, New Hampshire, bringing it back to Durham, North Carolina by 10, Doc. I got us winning 31-21. We're going to show on the road. Davius Richard, big-time game. He's a superstar.
Woo, I like to break down. AD Drew, tell us what your thoughts are on this matchup.
I think Charles will quickly remind you that although Central has given up 1 touchdown, Jackson State has not given up a touchdown this year. And only given up 3 field goals.
Come on, AD, why you got to do it like that?
He did say the top 2. He said top 2, if not the worst. Y'all gotta get excited. We're gonna talk about Jackson State next. Stick with North Carolina Central right now. Break down the matchup, AD group.
Look, Davis Richard, I think this may be a coming out party for him. We know what he has. I don't think the rest of FCS know what they have in North Carolina. That look, Richard impressed me last year when I saw him against Alcorn in the MEAC SWAC Challenge, and that's the first time he was put on my radar, and I've watched him progress since then. You talk about that central defense with that running game that they have, and then you have a quarterback who can do what he wants to do with the ball, and he has arm talent. Richard definitely has arm talent to go with those legs that he has. Yeah, I think Central can get this game. I need Central to get this game.
Yes, sir.
I would say it like that. I need Central to get this game, and I think they can. I think it's going to be. I don't think either one of these teams score over 20 points.
Ooh,
wow, should be interesting. Charles, what do you got to say?
This is going to be a fun one, very interesting one. You have a team that's coming in. That's the number 25 team in the Stats FCS poll when you're talking about New Hampshire. So, this is going to be a tough one. First year head coach Rick Santos, but I love Davis Richard, and I do like North Carolina Central's defense. That was an impressive showing against North Carolina A&T. I like the Eagles to go up there and bring it back to Durham. So I'm going to go with my colleague Josh Sim. I'm going to go with the Eagles here. I'm going to go with a little HBCU pride. Let's go up there and go get this W and come on back to HBCU land.
I like it.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear, brothers.
We're going to stick. No doubt. No doubt. Sticking with you, Charles, since you talked a little bit about the defense, let's stay and see what your thoughts in terms of defense in this next matchup. You got Jackson, Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium. As you talked about, you getting texts in the game talking about people are setting up for tailgating now.
Yeah.
This is a SWAC game, but it's a non-conference game. It's one of those games where you schedule outside of your conference schedule. So this will not count in the standings, just making that clear for those that haven't heard that enough by now. Saturday, September the 17th at 1 o'clock, ESPN 3 matchup. So you'll get to see this game. Unlike for those that were trying to find a place to watch another class, that's a whole different discussion there. We won't get into that. But Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of this Grambling Jackson State matchup? Classic for many people that understand the SWAC. These two individuals, for folks that do not study the history that well, they actually go back to when they played in the Midwestern Conference, along with Tennessee State, oddly enough, in terms of triumph with that matchup. But now it's in the SWAC. And let me go to Charles and see what he thinks on this, as you have two NFL coaches coaching in this matchup with Hugh Jackson and Coach Prime Deion Sanders. What are your thoughts in terms of this matchup?
Yeah, I think you got a very intriguing matchup with two coaches of caliber of Hugh Jackson and Deion Sanders. But I've said this on so many occasions. In Dennis Thurman, I trust. Jackson State's defense right now is really pushing on some historic type mentions. When you talk about Jackson State football, there's the defense, Jackson State defense 81, the one in 1987, the one that sacked Brett Favre 8 times. 1996 was another great one. And last year and this year, this defense is the engine that really propels this football team. They feed off of their energy. They feed off of big hits. They feed off of stops. And once they get the ball rolling, that's when they become this force, if you will. So I really think this will be a great game. One thing, I talked with Santoria Black, Grambling's play-by-play man for quite some time, and Santoria was saying that Grambling, they have a very athletic quarterback in Hawkins, but it's the running back room is very deep. They have Lyndon Rash. They have the young man transfer from Nebraska, Washington, who had 95 yards last week. So they're going to look to really be physical and establish the run game, but I think that plays into Jackson State's hands. I think Jackson State, the first principle of Dennis Thurman is stop the run. And then once you become one-dimensional, they start teeing off on you. So we saw that last week with Tennessee State. Dwayne reminded me today they amended the stat. Niles Gaddy now has one more sack. So he had 4.5 sacks last week. So 9 sacks all total for Jackson State. So I think the defense will do what they need to do. I don't think Gramblin's going to run up and down the field in terms of scoring on Jackson State's defense. So I'm looking for Jackson State to put up maybe 35 points in this game and get on track. They bogged down in the red zone last week, a couple turnovers, and then missing out on a 4th and goal. But I think they'll rectify that this week. So looking for Jackson State big, and they'll 35-10.
He said big. He said 10. That sounds like somebody gets in the end zone. I won't test him on this one, but I'm going to go to AD Drew. Top 10 matchup, number 7, Grambling State Tigers at number 1, Jackson State Tigers. You know the bands will be there. A lot of tailgating. But, Drew, what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup? Charles said 10. Does Grambling get in the end zone? Do they make it a game?
You asking somebody who went to FAMU and was rooting for FAMU, does Jackson State make this a game and get in the end zone? Are you sure you want me to answer that question? Because I only got one film to look at since I couldn't look at the game last week. And the only film that I have is the Florida A&M game. And the one thing that I noticed about the Florida A&M game was Jackson State was able to put pressure on us without a whole lot of blitzing. You know, that front 4 of Jackson State was able to do that, and they confused the hell out of Musa with what they were doing in the secondary with the coverages that they were doing, you know, dropping this person and bringing somebody else in. So if Jackson State can defend the pass with the 4 or 5 that they have back there without having to come after you with all these exotic blitzes, then if you're Grambling State, how are you going to beat them? Jackson State can also, because their secondary is so good, match up 1-on-1 and put 8 men in the box. If Grambling State's running back room is as deep as Santoria Black has said it is. And then we talked about Grambling State. Has Grambling State really fixed that line that they've had the problems with over the last 2 or 3 years?
Good question.
We know they didn't fix it the first game because we saw that first game. And once again, I don't have any film for the second game to look at. So right now, just based on what I've seen from the Grambling State's first game film, Jackson State's first game film, I've got to lean with the Tigers in blue and red.
Understanding as a red out game. Let me go to Joshua Sims. Welcome into the SWAC territory properly. He's been able to break down the MEAC like none other, but now he gets the chance to come in here and tell us a little bit about the SWAC because he knows it all in terms of his HBCU football, SIAC, CIAA, MEAC, in terms of the MAAC, and the SWAC, SWAC. Talk a little bit about this matchup. Top 10 matchup, as I said, Grambling State Tigers, 1-1 at number 1, Jackson State Tigers 2-0. 1-0. Is there an upset in the making? Or are you going with these guys and saying Tigers in terms of JSU going to bring it home?
So look, I'm gonna say this, Doc. This is primetime football, man. This is primetime football. If we owned a network like an ABC, this game wouldn't be played at 1 o'clock. This would be an 8 o'clock kickoff where everybody's sitting at home with their mama, daddy, and children watching this big time matchup. Number 1, Jackson State going up in their hometown inside of Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium. And you got Grambling coming in, and they look like they have matured from week 1. Last week, Paterius Hawkins, just a little bit about what he did last week. Only 10 incompletions last week for 293 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. He threw an 83-yard bomb last week that I had a chance to see with my own 2 eyes on the highlights. That running game netted 145 rushing yards last week. And so I know Brother AD Drew asked, has the offensive line finally come to their own understanding? Have they finally come to some place or a standing where they can be just reasonable? And if last week is any type of indicator that they have, look, you look for your teams as the season to go along to mature. But this ain't the time of the season where you want to be coming up against Jackson State when you trying to mature. This ain't the time of the season where you want to be coming to maturation and coming into manhood in week 3 when you got to go see them Jackson State Tigers. Listen, Shiloh Sanders is back this week. And though Travis Hunter is not going to be playing this week, which is a big, big difference. We saw that in the secondary just a little bit last week, not having that talent out there on the outside. But that front 7, man, led by Niles Gaddy, I'm not sure, other than what I'm seeing in Durham, North Carolina right now, I'm not sure I've ever seen an accumulation of guys like that. I thought they were good last year. Dennis Thurman told us that it was better this year. And I believed him. But God, BMO love me. I ain't believing this much. Good gracious, man. Grambling State might not score in this game. And it might get ugly early and fast because Shedeur Sanders, the game has slowed down to that kid. He's in the running for National Player of the Year from my perspective. He hasn't turned the ball over. He hasn't thrown an interception at all this season yet. It's gonna be tough for them Grambling State Tigers to get up out of there with their head held high. This is not the game you want to be coming to full maturation. And that's where I'm saying, that's why I'm leaving it at. This can get ugly and ugly fast.
Great breakdown by all three of you. Let me go to Adrian before we cut it off and give us the last update in terms of what's going on so everybody can switch over officially to Savannah State and Benedict, top 10 matchup at the mid-major level. Go ahead, AD.
With just under a minute to go, Savannah had the ball 4th and 1 from the Benedict 6-yard line and went for it. Benedict stopped them 3 yards in the backfield. Now Benedict has taken the ball over 1st and 10 on their own 10-yard line.
Great breakdown. Oh, this is going to be fun. Y'all can officially turn it over. Go ahead, Charles.
Let me mention this real quick. They have lifted the boil water. They have lifted the boil water notice here in Jackson. So that is a huge step in the right direction with regards to the water situation that was going on here. So.
Thank you for sharing that. It's extremely important. We still have prayers going out for all those in Jackson, Mississippi, in terms of things continue to get better for them.
Nothing at the end of one. I'm sorry. Nothing at the end of
the first quarter, 0-0.
0-0.
Over. Y'all got the breakdown here, and that was not Charles providing you an update on Jackson State. He listening intently. He's like, "Hey, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. This is Joshua Sims Jr. from the outside giving you your breakdown." And I like the way they bring it in there. I hate to say this because certainly I'd like to see Prairie View, Texas Southern in the MEAC Swag Challenge. But it sure would be interesting and funny. I know those Southern Jaguars, Grambling folks out there talking about Olo, Alabama A&M, FAMU, obviously hoping some crazy things happen. But boy, would that be interesting with these two folks in a celebration bowl in terms of Jackson State and North Carolina Central. We'll see if it works out that way. But we do have the South Carolina State Bulldogs over there in the MEAC saying, hold on, not so fast. No folks said they're going to try to get it right this week against Hampton. We talked about the MEAC. But we'll keep you updated. We'll continue to bring Joshua Sims Sr. back. He's going to move over to that visiting professor perspective. So you'll see him every once in a while giving us some updates to make sure that you get a full breath of what's going on. Obviously, we have A.D. Drew to make sure you get all the SIAC. We'll bring in Stephen Gaither at some point to give you some CIAA update and love, but that's what we do here. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. And as I teased Stephen Gaither, I was trying to wait to see if Winston-Salem State did some stuff positive so he can come in here with a more positive note, but not so fast as other folks would say. Again, we want to thank Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock. You know I kid you because I care, Stephen Gaither. Great work you're doing over there at HBCU Gameday, Tolly, Wally, getting it done and so much. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKNYATTACAVIL on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We look forward to Sunday as we'll do our 9 o'clock wake-up matchup, and we'll be able to talk about all the things that happened on Saturday and even some of the stuff that happened on Thursday, obviously, with tonight's game. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube is Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Greenbeard, continue to look forward. Make sure you check out the pregame show as they give their stuff. Make sure you're doing My JVN, My BCSN. Make sure you check out Joshua Sims Sr. on Twitter as he gets it done in terms of HBCU Nightly. Check out Brian AD in terms of sports rap. ONG Strike Zone is Brian and Kofi all get it done. BJ Jones with his Tuesday top 5, and he'll soon be bringing back his Sunday night breakdown of HBCU sports. We'll talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
AD?
Lecture.
Joshua?
Class dismissed.
Wow.
Well, they see.